Hello, everyone. Welcome back for another positive talk. We're at episode 249, which is crazy. Super excited about today's positive talk. Today's live is going to be with someone that I've known for quite a while. Here last week, so I'm excited to be diving into another area of fitness today. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good myself. So you're in your car and all ready.
Yes, sir. I'm ready.
Awesome. Well, I'll let you introduce yourself so people know who you are, and then we can kind of dive into a conversation.
All right. My name is Nathan Wood. I'm a personal trainer here in Orlando, Florida, and I've been personal training for about 15 years, and I've lived in Orlando for about 10 years.
It's crazy. I feel like
Right. It's already been 10 years. Like I feel like I was just coming down here to visit, but now I've been here for 10. Yeah, this August will be 10 years.
yeah,
Isn't that crazy?
anytime I think of like friendships that have like been around for that long, I'm like, I'm not old enough to have friends that I've known for that long.
Right,
Guess,
like
guess I am.
time flies.
It
Time
does.
flies.
So I figured since we had a conversation last week about fitness and stuff like that, that this week we could dive into a little different angle of fitness since you are also in that realm of things.
Sure.
And I think that it's a really good thing for people to know that there is a mindset to fitness. There is a drive that brings people to fitness, and I think that there still lies some shame in certain areas when it comes to people's journeys to fitness. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to kind of discuss with you some of the things that you've seen over the years as a trainer when it comes to working with people to help them overcome some of the things that are challenging them or preventing them from continuing their journey.
Right. I would say the one of the biggest things that I've noticed over the years is a lot of people they want to do too much too soon,
Yeah.
and it's almost like they want the quick results. It's like, oh my God, what if I work out, 5 or 6 days a week, then I'm gonna get the results faster. I'm gonna get the body I want quicker and stuff like that. And I've noticed time and time again that people that do that, or they do too much too soon, they just burn themselves very quickly, which is why what you see at the beginning of the year where everyone's like New Year's resolution, all that stuff, and they die out within 4 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
so
I mean, that's usually everyone's like worst nightmare if you're a constant gym goer or user, when it comes to the beginning of the year when the gyms are just like completely overpacked with people.
right. Like my biggest thing is what I recommend to people all the time in terms of their fitness is start out small. Start out with like a couple days a week and 30 minutes, get that habit going. And then over time, you can build upon that. You want it to be like a progression. You don't want to I tell my clients all the time, I'm like, you don't want to do like, 4 1 week, the next week do 2, and then next week do 5 or whatever. You don't want to zigzag like that. You want to like consistency. Your body does well with consistency and repetition, day after day, week after week, month after month, and stuff like that. So starting out, I always tell people to, once you feel comfortable and you can throw in more, do more, but slow down.
Yeah. I remember in college, a couple of my friends and I, we rented one of the like fitness spaces in the Falcon Center, and we did like
Oh
the
my God, the Falcon.
P90X.
The Falcon Center. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, we rented a space and we did like the P90X like test at the beginning where you're supposed to like measure your like ability at the beginning, and then like you do a couple weeks and then you measure yourself again. And I pushed myself so hard because everyone else around me wasn't quitting, and I
hmm
refused to be the one that gave up first. But
hmm
then like I put myself into a position where like I did not want to even look at a gym for a while just because my whole body was just like, absolutely not. You pushed yourself way too hard.
Yeah, it's right. And a lot of people, if they start working out, they think that like if they get sore, they're like, oh my God, is this what I feel like at the end of every workout? You know, like I don't want to do this. This is terrible. Like, why do people like this? They start getting all these thoughts and then they just talk themselves out of it. It's like, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
Type thing. So I'm always a big fan, you know, start slow, get the adapt a habit. And then just go from there. And sometimes it helps to have like a gym buddy, someone that you can work out with. And if you can, you know, if you want to, you know, obviously hire a personal trainer because that makes you accountable. I would say 50% of my clients or so, they know what to do in the gym, but I keep them accountable.
Yeah.
It's like if I'm paying for it, like I'm gonna show up, you know, type thing. You know, like anything in life. At least I hope.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you know, they show up. There's certain days a week. There's certain times. I put them through a workout and make them go past a certain level that they normally wouldn't, and then they're happy with the results. But then, you know, on the other side, there's other people that, like I said, they just go too quickly. They do too much, and they burn themselves out. So, you know, there's like a happy sweet spot that you gotta find what works with you, works with your schedule, and what you can, you know, obtain over a long period of time. Because I'm not a fan of diets or like things for the short term. Like, oh, I'm like program, you know, like stuff like this, like lose 10 pounds X amount of weeks. Like, it's great. Like, you're gonna lose those 10 pounds, or, you know, the diet, you're gonna do this certain diet, but once you lose it, you know, like, then what? You know, you're over time, you're gonna start unraveling and go back to your old habits, and you'll gain the weight back in a certain period of time. So I'm always about like lifestyle changes, things that you can sustain for a whole, you know, rest of your life.
Yeah. I've always told people that when it comes to fitness, when it comes to setting yourself up for good habits, like that's something that trickles into like every part of your life as well. So like when you start holding yourself accountable, when you start showing up for yourself, like you show up in more than one place. Like it's not just fitness that you're really benefiting yourself. Like you're creating a mindset of showing up for yourself. And I think that that's important.
Yeah, it's like I use fitness for myself personally. Like I use it in every aspect of my life. Like you push yourself, you know, you put yourself in uncomfortable positions, and, you know, through repetition, through consistency, you reach the goals that you want to reach. And you can use that formula in every aspect of your life. It's just like pushing through and being disciplined enough to do the things at hand to get you to the end result that you want.
Yeah. So when it comes to people that you've worked with and yourself included, what do you think is like the drive for people's like goals for fitness? Because I know that a lot of people start that journey for a lot of different reasons, whether it's their body is like, you're going to die if you don't choose a better lifestyle, or some people are
Right.
like, I want to be attractive to other people, because I know that that's a mindset that people carry around fitness as well.
I would say, based on most people, they want to look good.
Yeah.
They want to look good for, it could be for the beach, it could be for their significant other, or for themselves. It's like, it's a very visual thing. You know, obviously they want to improve their health, they want to live longer, all that stuff, but they want to like, or they want to fit into a certain size. Like I have some clients that they want to lose X amount of pounds for a wedding, or they want to, you know, for vacation, or when they go to the beach and stuff like that. I would say majority of them want to do that, and it's mainly their driving force.
Yeah. I know that I've worked with people who, when it comes to the mindset, a lot of times people place like, I will be happy, I will be in a better place once I hit certain goals. And I know that a lot of times they'll get to that goal, they'll get to the pant size, they'll get to the whatever lift
Right.
that they want to be able to lift, and then they are at that point and they're like, why am I still not
Why
happy?
still? Right. It all starts here. It all starts here. Like, it's almost like once I lose those 20 pounds, once, and then for some guys and girls, once I gain X weight and muscle, I'm going to be happy. And it's like, no, be happy right now. You know, like
Yeah.
you got to adapt that mindset now, because where the mind, where the mind goes, the body will follow. The mind will, if you can see it, obviously you'll eventually get it. So in terms of like waiting to be happy, or thinking that you'll be happy with the weight loss, significant other, or that job, or making the X amount of money per year, no. Like be happy now, like doing whatever you do, whatever makes you happy, just be happy now,
Yeah. I think that a lot of times people think that it's like this external validation where it's like, I'm going to become more attractive by working out, therefore more people will like me. And they don't realize that a lot of that has to do with their own confidence, their own self-love, their own image that they believe that they are projecting out. Because I've seen a lot of people where I'm just like, you are literally someone I could see on a magazine cover, but they look in the
they don't
mirror and they
see.
just
Yeah,
pick themselves apart.
right. It's like I have clients like this. I'm like, I'll look at them, be like, man, like girl, guy, whatever. I was like, you look really good. Like, we can lose a couple pounds here and there, but like I think you look great. But what they see is not even close. Like they're always like, well, look at this. What about this? Like, oh my God, like I don't feel a certain way. Like it all it's all your perception of yourself, and a lot of times it's skewed, which obviously that can go back to body dysmorphia, which is a problem in for certain people. So it always helps, starting with some positive reinforcements, whatever that means for you, and getting your head in the right space, so you enjoy the journey, and B, you realize that whatever you're reaching for is almost like icing on top of the cake. It's not the thing that actually going to truly make you happy. Like you need to be happy right now. Like even if you're wherever you are in life, whatever you do, be happy now and just strive for more. Does that make sense? Yeah. Just strive for more.
I think that a lot of times as well, when it comes to working out and fitness, we think about how we fit that into our daily schedule. And if it comes to our habit of, because a lot of times we are focusing so much on the fitness part that we forget that there's actually other habits that we've developed, whether it's procrastination that doesn't really work well in the fitness realm of things, whether it is making excuses. If you're the type of person who will sit there and you've got a million excuses for why you don't accomplish certain things, like that's a habit you can get into, and the mindset that you create there. So like even on that journey, a lot of times people are like, okay, sometimes it starts small with even training your mind before you even start jumping into the fitness journey of things.
Yes, start with some. I thousands of percent agree with that. It's almost like start with some positive reinforcement, either reading a book, like doing some positive affirmations, doing some self-love exercises. There's millions out there. Something to start you off day, or start your mindset off with peace. You got to be centered. You got to feel good about yourself, and not be reaching for more, or reaching for an exterior thing to quote unquote make you happy.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of people have done that recently and do that, and that's not the way to start things out. Like you have to be happy where you are, what you're doing, and then, like I said, strive for more. Go for reach for your ultimate goals.
Yeah. And like thinking about the person that you would be if you're the type of person that does work out all the time. Like even I, like working as a life coach, had to start adjusting, like what would a person that I want to be doing right now on this day, and start doing that instead of saying, well, one day when I am a life coach,
Yes.
I will do this. Because you don't become something without doing the things that that person has to do to be that person. And I think that a lot of people just think it'll come.
No, that day will never come. It's like you got to do it now. Like you got to start putting the pieces in motion. Start doing the little daily thing. It's like, okay, if I was that person living that dream life, how would I be feeling feeling today? Like what would I be doing today? And start just like slowly transitioning your mind into that mindset, and you'll be surprised how well you will transform your life and your relationships, and just everything about you will just like change astronomically.
Yeah.
And it's just taking that first step. And I know it can be scary. Believe me, I know. But you have to, or you'll always be in the same place,
Yeah.
or always in the same place, or you'll try, and you won't have your head right, and then you just can continuously be in a cycle.
Yeah. So like we all know that life can just hit you out of nowhere, and you can have your mind set. You're like, okay, these are the steps I've got to take to get to this goal. These are the things that I'm going to start doing. You start doing things, and then life hits you with something that's just unexpected. So like it now shifts your mindset. It now has you in a space where the goals and mindset you had to really motivate you don't exist. How would you work with people to kind of help them recenter themselves and refocus on the things that matter to them?
For one, if they're hit with just so I understand you correctly, if they're hit with a traumatic event or thing in their life that kind of like
Yeah.
sets their vibe, so to speak, off,
Yeah.
and they're like in a spiral, so to speak, I would first, figure out what that was, and then put in action steps to recenter them back to where they need to be, like in terms of mental exercises, workouts, starting like working out, like a workout routine, a couple days a week. Figuring out what their eating habits are, because that really, really messes with people. It makes you lethargic, makes you lazy, makes you not want to do anything. Literally, what you put in your body literally changes your life. Like fix their diet. Like you just have to, little by little, start shaping your world in a positive way. And it's not going to happen overnight. I get it. Everybody has things in life that affect them, and you're blindsided, as what you're just talking about with certain events. You just handle it the best way you possibly can, and you keep trying to stay positive in those dark times, whatever it might be. Like, you don't want to continuously think negative thoughts, or you're going to keep having negative situations. So you just try to keep your mind in that positive space. Be like, yeah, okay, this happened, don't like it, but everything's going to be okay. You talk to yourself internally, whatever it is, and then just focus on your goals, what you can do within your own power, rather than get upset over something that's out of your power, out of your control.
Yeah. Focusing on your controls can be really hard when you feel like things are out of control, because your mind goes so quickly to the things you can't control.
Very much so. Very much so. Like, yes, like, which could lead to depression, all that stuff. So, your goal is to obviously try not to let it get in that space. But if you were to start, it's a slippery slope, were to get in that spot, I would start with some mind exercises, some affirmations, working out, drinking plenty of water, like just little things, just to try to recenter yourself and try to improve your eating habits and drinking less and stuff like that.
Yeah. I always tell people, like, when it comes to those types of things, you feel a little foolish doing some of them when you first start, just because
like what?
when it comes to meditation, when it comes to
Oh,
affirmation,
yes.
just because it's a very foreign feeling to whatever situation you're currently in and the mindset that you're currently living in. But
Right.
doing it repetitively, it does start to feel more natural. And when you are in a lifestyle where it kind of sits with those affirmations, you really thank yourself for doing it. Don't give up just because you feel a little bit funny doing it at first.
Like for me, for example, I have my affirmations first thing in the morning and first thing at night. Like I have like a little book. It sits beside my bed, And I take a couple minutes before I go to bed, and then a couple minutes right when I wake up, and I literally just run through them a couple times, maybe four if I need to. It doesn't take me that long, and it literally, you have no idea, like it just recenters me, and it's like a feeling more than anything. It's a feeling, it just centers me. And it's like, all right, bam, I'm ready to go. Let me go get my coffee. Like
Yeah.
seriously, I highly recommend doing that. Like get the book, something, writing out something, like just reading it over first thing in the morning, first thing at night.
Yeah. I know that a lot of times I suffered from like imposter syndrome, where my mind was playing you are not this, you are not this, you are not good enough. And when I flipped just the mindset switch to you
Right.
are this, you can do this, you do this all the time, it changed my whole perception of it. Because instead of me going out and saying, oh, well, I want to be, or when people ask me about my profession and I like come off very like scared to tell them what I do, I got to the point where I was like, yeah, I do self-empowerment coaching. Yeah, I do leadership training. And I started saying it in a way where people felt the confidence. And I was like, that wasn't right away. That was something that I had to say, yes, I've made the switch. I no longer do the corporate thing. I'm doing this on the side now, and I'm growing it because this is my business. And it wasn't easy, but I had to keep doing it until the point where I was talking to people and it just rolled off the tongue so naturally.
Amen. Amen. You got to follow your passions and whatever you enjoy, like what you want out of life. Yeah.
So when it comes to getting to where you currently are with your passion, is that something that you've always known, or is that something that you had to kind of take transitions to get to where you are today?
You mean in terms of my personal training business? Is that what you're referencing?
Yeah.
For me, it was more or less, I get asked this question a lot. It was more or less like a natural progression, because my parents are pretty active, and I grew up, my parents take me to the gym, daycare, all that stuff. And then, they took me to the gym when I was of age and could, and just started working out. And I just it was more or less a release for me. Like I use it as, a lot of people are like, oh, I want to look good. Yeah, I do. Don't get me wrong. I do. It's like a byproduct, but that's not the primary reason. Mine, it's more or less mental.
Yeah.
And it helps out my mind. Like it's literally my alone time. I don't talk in the gym. Like I don't like to. Like if I go to the gym, I have my headphones in, and I just want to be left alone because it's like my zen time. Some people like to go to the bar. Some people like to do this. Don't get me wrong, I like to drink occasionally. But some people just want to throw that in there. But and then some people like going on long weeks or long walks. I like going to the gym. It's my release, and I feel so much better on happy endorphins and stuff like that. So back to your original question, I grew up around the gym. It's a natural progression. Started working at a gym, and then I was like, I can work for myself, make more money. So I just started progressing into myself, and then I started my own business, and I enjoy it. And I enjoy helping people reach their fitness goals, and how putting certain tools and steps in place to help them, rather than them, they'll get overwhelmed and like, I'm not seeing that progress and all that stuff. It takes time. It literally takes time. And, like it's just consistency. Your body does well with consistency. It doesn't do good with inconsistency. Like you got to keep at it. That's why I'm always like 2 days a week, start out. We'll throw in another day. Let's get your diet on point, and we'll just go from there. And my thing is, I'm not one of those like extremely strict trainers in terms of like, I get it. We have a social life. You have a social life. I have a social life. I like to go out. I like to wine and dine just like anybody. So I'm like, just do it within reason. Have like 1 or 2 cheat meals a week, whatever, and just have fun. But I'm not going to be like, no, you can't eat. You have to lose 20 pounds type of thing. I want to make it fun so you stay on track and stay consistent and you don't abort,
Yeah. I think that that's one of the things that a lot of people assume, is that they're just going to have to give up a life outside of the gym, because a lot of times I talk to people, I'm like, okay, let's look at all the gaps in your schedule, because a lot of times the gaps we don't remember, we don't think about them. We see all the things that we do in a day, but we forget about all the free gaps that we still have that could be utilized to do the things that we want. And a lot of times it's just creating structure so that you can have a social life and do the things that you want, but also adding, like for me, I had to add my work as a coach on the back end of my work at my corporate job, because that was something that was very important to me, and I had to add it to my structure because it wasn't going to naturally happen. So for people who want to add something to their life, whether it's moving from a job to another career, you have to choose and intentionally put it into your life and continue to create that space for it, because a lot of times if you don't create this space in your life, someone else will take that time from you.
Exactly. You won't have to. That's why, to piggyback off what you just said, that's why whenever someone says, "Oh God, I love it," like, I don't have time. Okay, let's talk about this for a second. Like, you always have time. Like, you have time. Like to me, someone asked me once, "You're like, Nate, okay, when you run out of time on certain things, what's the first thing to go? Like, what do you sacrifice for?" For me, it's sleep. So if I'm extremely busy throughout the day, if I have clients and then I have whatever friends engagements, I will, like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to bed an hour later, or I have to get up an hour earlier to get my gym in. So back where you're saying, like, you make time for things that you want. You reconfigure your day, you reconfigure your schedule. So when someone says they don't have time, it's just, they're just not making the time. Like, you can always make time. Like, I can always just, like, okay, my plate might be full, but there's always a little room, for things I want. So for example, for me today, I knew that I had this call with you, and so I left the house, like, it said 7, and I was like, I won't be home until 9. So I'll be gone all day just because I have clients here and there, this. So I literally, this morning, I got up a little extra early, and I put all my meals together so I wouldn't go out for lunch. And I just planned ahead. So I have all my food with me. So I will stay on point. I don't have time to go home and actually meal prep some food for lunch or stuff like that. So I just literally had to make the time, the intention to eat healthy, even though I won't be home for 14 hours. You just got to plan it out.
Yeah.
You know?
It's so interesting because a lot of times we will make time for everyone else in our lives. Like, if you have a boss, well, you're going to show up on time for them. You have that respect for them. And if you have friends and you make plans, most people will show up for their friends. But a lot of times when we make plans for ourselves, that's where people start sacrificing for other things. And I think that that's a slippery slope to go down, because if your health is something that you're willing to sacrifice for someone else, where else are you sacrificing yourself in spaces that are going to have a longer impact than whether or not you miss something that your friend kind of tried to throw on you last minute?
Yeah, I would agree with that. And one other reason I think some people give up things they plan for themselves is because some people don't like being alone.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like, oh, I'm going to do this for myself. I'm going to go do this. I'm going to, whatever it is, meaning by yourself. And, but if so-and-so says, hey, do you want to do this at that same time? They're like, I don't need time for myself. I can go hang out with you instead. People tend to do that. It could be consciously or subconsciously. They want to do it because they don't want to be alone, or they could just I don't know. They just abort their own personal needs, their own personal wants for what they want to do in that given period.
Yeah, and I think that there's some things that give you like that temporary feeling of like adrenaline, where you're just like really enjoying it in the moment.
Right.
And then it's just like important, like you said, there are social lives outside of this to where you can just be like, okay, maybe today's not going to be a gym day because my friend's got an event that I want to attend, and I'm going to adjust my schedule accordingly. But it's important for you to not beat yourself up about it, because the mindset that you have around it also, because a lot of times when people work out, they'll do it, but they hate it. And that's not a good relationship to have with fitness or food.
Yes, that they'll hate it, but then again, they'll also be doing something else while they're doing it. For example, it always cracks me up whenever I see the guy or girl, like they'll be like reading a book. If they're like I saw this one guy, like he was doing like lion leg curls, like just at a random gym, and he was just like reading a book while it was in between sets. I'm like, bro, it's like, come on, like focus on the exercise at hand. Like you'll be working out for like 45 minutes to an hour, on average, most people. Like you can't like not like it's like they hate working out so much they have to bring in another hobby to almost overpower the workout in a way, just to take their mind out of the equation, when really the mind is the number one thing you need to keep in it, just to learn to love it, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean, I think that that's also a space for them to hurt themselves if they're not paying attention, if they're not focused. And then that can cause even more problems as well.
Yes, that too. Yeah, if you're not paying attention, yeah, that's another bad thing. If you're not paying attention, you could also increase your risk of injury to yourself or someone around you that you don't know is around you because your face is in a book.
Yeah.
Or, not paying attention.
I know that I will put on like podcasts when I'm running or when I'm doing stuff, just because for me, music, I zone out and then I start thinking about things that are not fitness at all. But it's interesting because even when I chose different types of podcasts, like I was listening to mindset podcasts, then I switched it to like fitness podcasts. And then I was starting to like have thoughts about like, how is this fitness plan that I chose for myself impacting me? And I was just like, this is actually very interesting. But when I started working out with my boyfriend, I switched back to music because I was just kind of in pace with him. And then we kind of got rid of music and just kind of had conversations in between. And I was
Right.
like focusing on my breathing and listening to like my breathing. And I was like, oh, wow, I'm actually getting a lot better at this than when I was starting off like a couple months ago, because before I was like heaving and hoving before I was trying to pass 10 minutes on a treadmill. And I was like, oh, now my body's kind of adapting. And we just did a long hike where my body was like, thank you for at least working out some before putting me on this, because I wouldn't have made it down the mountain.
No, it helps. It helps. Like keeping your mind in the game, like it helps so much. Like in terms of fitness, in terms of like work. Obviously diet and stuff like that. Like your mind is such a powerful tool. That can be your best friend, but if you don't use it correctly, it can be your worst enemy.
Yeah. I think positive affirmations during a workout can also help you out a lot.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean,
Like,
you can sit there and say negative things like, I hate this, and then something not so great happen.
Exactly. Like, like positive affirmations throughout your workout, throughout your day. Like anytime you are feeling like you're like, sometimes road rage, like anytime you feel like you're, you're like feeling like you're off kilter and you're starting to like unravel, so to speak, you want to kind of like bring yourself back to center and be like, okay, it's not that big a deal. Everything's going to work out. I'm cool. I'm chill. Everything's good. Like you think of your own little positive affirmation that works for you. Everything always works out for me easily and freely. Like it could be anything. Anything to like feel good and just to get you recentered.
Yeah. I mean,
know
for
that
like
always works for me.
The road rage thing, like I usually paint a story of why the traffic is there or why someone cut me off to like make me not so upset about the situation I'm in. I'm like, you know what? this traffic is stopping me from being in a place I shouldn't be. So I'm going to get where I'm supposed to be exactly when I'm supposed to be there, and just keep those types of things going through. Because, I mean, Richmond drivers are crazy. They're definitely not well-driven people. Like, I see pretty much accidents every single day driving. And
It's like people are like, you're doing everything but driving the car.
yeah,
It's like go. But no, I get it. I get it. Yeah, and there's some aggressive drivers out there.
yeah. You went from like West Virginia to Florida, and then, I mean, Florida is very interesting because, like, when I was living down there, I was not used to like the hydroplaning life. Very different here in Virginia, where everything's on a hill.
Right.
Uh, so like I was not used to that, and just watching people in front of me just hydroplane and just keep going, I was like, oh, okay, different. They're skilled. They can't drive in snow, but they
Right.
can definitely hydroplane and still stay on the road.
Yeah, I've noticed like people here are very aggressive, and then oh man, like Atlanta, people are like crazy aggressive up there. Because one of my best friends, he lives up there, and I go up there sometimes, and I'm like, man, these drivers, it's like different world.
Yeah. So like in your life, you've gotten to like travel a little bit and kind of see the world in different places. So when it comes to seeing fitness and seeing nutrition and seeing how people kind of live differently in other places, are there anything like that people you think do better in certain places? Or do you think it's a general human thing when it comes to fitness?
I think people always like, people want to be fit, they want to be healthy, they want to look good. However, I will say people that are in warmer climates, they tend to they want to look healthier and look better more so than other people. Like on a larger scale, like people that live in Florida or people that live in California, because they tend to go to the beach and stuff like that. I would say that's one of the biggest differentiators. That, or if you're close to a beach, it could be Virginia Beach. But I would say that's a big one. And then on top of that, um, but yeah, like consistency, I think is people that live in those areas are more consistent, and they they will spend more money for something, looking, staying healthy, and they make it more of a priority, and um, they invest more in it, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean, I remember working in Florida, and the place that I worked like paid for your gym membership because like they wanted their employees to be healthy and fit. Where it's like, go to West Virginia, I mean, even here in Virginia, I've never had them offer to pay for my gym membership when it came to looking good for customer facing employees. And I was just like, this is very interesting and they even had like deals with different tanning salons where you could go lay in a tanning bed. They're like, yeah, our employees get $20 off every month. And I'm like, wow, that's very interesting.
No, it's crazy because a lot of businesses, I've noticed that as well. A lot of businesses nowadays, they're offering, because they want their employees to stay healthy, they want them to stay active, so they'll continue working. But like, and contributing to their business, so they're operating off their ultimate level, and they're doing the best they can instead of not feeling their greatest. They're always sick, they're calling out, they're costing the company money, they're quitting, then you got to pay money to rehire people and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's kind of going back to like what we were saying before, where it's like that mindset that trickles into everything. So if you can get employees that are interested in fitness and creating that into their daily ritual and habits, those are the type of people who will show up for work as well, because that's kind of built into their DNA now.
Right. Like it all goes back to your mindset. Like I can't hammer that home enough. I know, we've talked about that a lot, but it's so important. Like for whatever you want to achieve in life. Like whatever that is for you. Like it could be anything. Like just getting your head right, being intentional, being positive about it, you can accomplish anything.
Do you feel like when it comes to being someone who has found that mindset and has created those habits for yourself, that you naturally attract people who are within that same mindset?
Very much so. I started contributing, like that mindset's probably the last 3 or so years, and it's helped me out tremendously. Of course, I'm gonna have good days. I'm gonna have bad days. I'm gonna have days where, like screw you, and stuff like that. We all do. We're human. But at large, having that mindset a majority of the time, like it has helped me out tremendously in terms of my business, in terms of travel, in terms of my relationships, family, friends, whatever. And it's made me overall a better person. So I am very grateful that I adopted those habits. That's why I keep hammering home that it's so important. Like your quality of life will increase dramatically.
Yeah.
Like it's I'm not blowing smoke. I'm not bluffing. It's great.
Yeah. I think that a lot of times we want to help so many other people around us and we put ourselves on the back burner, not knowing that when you put yourself first, when you allow yourself the space to be healthy, set healthy goals, mindset goals, fitness goals, nutrition goals, the person that you show up as in the world now is someone who can contribute so much more than someone who's burnt out because you've spent your entire day giving to everyone else around you, to where you come home just completely drained. I mean, I noticed when I set my frequencies higher that I started attracting people who wanted to help me help people. So that took things off my plate and I was able to help so many more people. And at the end of the day, not feel as drained and feel super excited the fact that I got to contribute in a positive way to so many more people than I could when I was burning myself out.
Right. Like you feel empowered. Like you feel like you're, as Oprah as Oprah says, your cup is full, it's runneth over. Like you just like you can contribute more. It's like you like attract like, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's a great feeling, and it's great to, help other people in terms of like fitness or any other goals that they might have. And I always hammer home, don't do too much too soon. Get your mindset right and make a list of things that you want to accomplish and just write them down. It can be the craziest ones you could ever imagine. They're, to you, they might be crazy. To me, they're not, because you can attain them. You just got to have the intention,
Yeah.
and the mindset, a positive mindset.
So for people who may be intimidated by the fitness journey just because they do see people who are way further along or who have been built differently when it comes to starting at the gym, how do you think that they could kind of make connections? Because I know that when it came to fitness for me, there was a lot of people I was trying to drag to the gym with me because I wasn't good at connecting with people at the gym. How could someone who doesn't really have a lot of friends that want to join that journey with them kind of start so that they're not super intimidated?
For one, never compare yourself to anybody. That's first red flag I saw. But yeah, never compare yourself, like in terms of your fitness journey, your work journey, no journey. Don't, because you comparing yourself to someone else, you looking at someone else takes focus off you. So keep the focus on you. A, B, everyone starts somewhere, So regardless of so-and-so beside you that looks like they're 10 times along, they started at some point. So the person they are today is not the person they once were. So vice versa, the person you are, later on down the road is not the person you are currently. So A, keep that mindset. Remember that. B, get intentional and focus on what you truly want, whatever that might be. And C, start small, like And if you need someone to point you in the right direction, reach out to a trainer like me, like someone that can give you like the tools that you might be lacking, and kind of like help you point you in the right direction to, help you reach your goals and show you that you don't, you don't need that instant success. Like slow and steady wins the race, and like you need just small victories. It's like if you're wanting to lose 20 pounds, don't look at the 20 pounds. Like be like, okay, I'm gonna lose the next couple of weeks, whatever. I'm gonna lose 2 pounds, and then just like, okay, then I'm gonna lose another 2 pounds, and before you know it, you've lost 20, 25. You've lost more than what you wanted. So always, start small. Do not compare yourself to someone else, and realize everyone starts somewhere, and you just got to have the courage to put that first step forward and to realize that you can reach your dreams instead of just staying in place and just being crippled by fear.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't take a first step regardless, because they're afraid of that. What if I fail? Like you'll never know unless you try. Like you just got to keep pushing, and you won't fail. Get that out of your mind. Just stay positive, keep positive mindset, keep positive, affirmations, and just keep pushing through and just never give up, because you will reach the goal that you want to reach, regardless of what it is.
Yeah, and form that healthy relationship with your body where you're at right now, and like be doing it because you love yourself, like doing it for yourself. And I mean that for me, like when I started doing things, I'm like, I'm doing this because I love myself. Like it felt foreign to me because I was from a young age taught that to show love, you have to love other people. To gain others' love, you have to give them love first. So I was very foreign to ever giving to myself. I thought you could only receive from the external. So when I started saying things like, I'm doing this because I love myself, I was like, this sounds so silly, but I'm going to keep doing it because I do love myself. And I did get to a point where I was just like, this is a healthy like relationship with myself, and it doesn't feel bad. I was in one of my positive space things talking with my team. I was like, I know a lot of times people will say like, this is a conceited type of comment, but I am finally happy because I can look in the mirror and I don't destroy myself when I look at the person in the mirror. Like I actually do love that person, and I appreciate the body standing in front of me and the work that it does. And that's a beautiful thing to obtain. It's not easy, but like when you get there, it's worth all the things you had to do to get to that point.
Amen. Once you get into that mindset, like you can accomplish anything, like anything. I know people might think of, like crazy saying that, but you literally can. It's just get like love is within you, happiness is within you, all that stuff. You just got to get your head right, and just like one of the like listen to listen to happy music, happy songs, like uplifting, inspiring things, anything to get you in that good mindset and to keep you there. So I always try to stay away from negative things, negative people, negative situations. If people just constantly are bringing down the mood, or if they're constantly like
Yeah.
bring me down.
Yeah. And I've seen people with like unhealthy attachments to fitness when it comes to like the comparison of people who are not on a fitness journey, or who are further behind, or who have not started. And for me, like I've always connected with people who are just like really focus on the growth that they have for themselves, the love and connection that they have with themselves. Where there's some people who shame their old self. Like that's one of the biggest things that working with people as a coach is talking to them about not hating the person they once were. What like that was who got you here today. Like you can't hate that person. and love the person that's standing in front of the mirror today, because that person is you. As well as when it comes to when we speak negatively of our past selves, that also transmits negative energy, and it's something that people hear as well. I know that I've had friends on fitness journeys where they hear people speaking so negatively of their past selves that those people take those comments and stick them on themselves. And I'm like, most of those comments are people's self-hate that they're spitting out into the world. They're not talking about you. They're not intentionally trying to be hateful. They just have this strong self-hate still living inside of them. And they are still just sticking those stickers on themselves, or their past selves that they still don't know how to love.
Right. No, it's true. It's so true. Like
Happy people don't do that.
What's that?
Happy people don't do that to themselves. Like, you don't sit there and go, wow, I'm having a really great day. Let's look at some pictures of myself. Wow, I really hate this picture. Like, we don't find good moments and try to bring ourselves down by like negatively speaking about our past selves.
No, because you're not that person anymore. Like, yes, you are that person, but you've grown, sustained. You know, like you've evolved. You've gone through experiences, and just be like, yeah, I once liked that, but I don't like that anymore. Like, I'm a new person. You know, like it could be anything. Like, it's, you know, like past relationships. It could be, you know, what you like to eat, used to eat, or like how you used to gain, you know, used to be 40 pounds heavier. It's like, oh my God, I'm so heavy. It's like, no, it's like, that's just who I was then, and this is what I want now. This is who I am. You know, like stuff like that. Like anything like positive reinforcement instead of anything to bring down the mood, bring down your vibe, anything to bring, I don't know, just keep those negative thoughts out.
I agree. Well, I see we're getting close to the hour, so I want to say thank you so much for jumping on here and doing this with me.
Sure.
And if there's any last words or anything that you want to like let people know, if they want to work with you or possibly sign up for something similar to what you do, if they don't live in the same area as you, you can do that, and then we can jump off.
Yeah, sure. Well, with me as a personal trainer, I would love to work with you. And actually, I do offer online. It's different than in person, but I do offer online where we figure out what your goals are and we map out for a 12, 16 week, just to see where you're at. And then, of course, I show you what you can, you know, sustain over a long period of time. But advice that I would give is try not to do too much too soon. Either that you working with me, obviously, I will tell you that. But with anything, try to do baby steps. Start small. Don't be so hard on yourself, and keep doing your positive reinforcements in terms of like positive affirmations, and then
Canceled.
And don't forget to love yourself. You know, but yeah, I would. But if you're looking for a personal trainer, you need someone, you don't know what to do, you don't know where to start, just reach out to me. I would be more than willing to help you out, help you lose those pounds, gain that weight, muscle, and help you reach your goals, whatever they might be. But just remember, you can accomplish anything. You know, don't let anything or anyone or even yourself tell you can't.
Awesome. I think that's an amazing note to end on. And once again, thank you for doing this, and enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, sir. I'll talk to you later.
See ya.
See you, Ben.